Bro, do you understand how dangerous Maumela has to be if someone would be like, nah, I'd rather like spend 5 years of my lifetime in prison. I swear. Put me in jail right now. This guy knows Ramaphosa and has so much money to live in the neighborhood of Ramaphosa. And nobody knows where he gets the money. Nobody knows what he looks like. Nobody knows anything about this guy who's living in the neighborhood of Ramaphosa. What do you mean? So things just got worse for Billionaire. I don't know how worse it could get for a billionaire. We're finna find out today how worse it could get for a billionaire. What do you mean? Things can get worse for billionaires now. Huh? Cause I don't understand why things are getting worse for a billionaire. In fact, let's just get into it, okay? Cause if I keep on yapping, we might get to cracking. Cause every time I yap, I tend to like raise y'all. So I don't wanna raise nobody today. I just wanna see how it gets worse for a billionaire. So let's stop yapping before we crack and get to reacting before we get to smash. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just get to it.
Morgan Maumela situation is quite honestly one of the scariest things that's happening in South Africa at the moment.
Is how they deal with their matters. They don't have facts. They just act. They just do what they're doing, and it's not correct. I find that not correct at all. You don't do this to innocent business. You don't do that. Come in here by my business place. Even now, this is private property.
Mr. Omar, though, Mr. Omar,
I'm coming to your Bentley. I'm coming to the Bentley.
Are you denying, though, that the car that you allegedly sold for 3 million belongs to Hagwani Maumela?
There is no vehicle here. You all are all here for the Bentley. There's no Bentley here.
There's a guy named Hangwani Maumela.
Legend.
That man, he of no photos, no videos, unknown. People always say I fixate on that, but I think it's so strange. Al Capone was known. His photos were all over. The media would report notorious gangster Al Capone. Right? And they say, no, I'm not a gangster. I'm just, a community what. Yeah. Even some of these other Stainfields and all of these guys, we see them. This guy, Hangwani, no pictures, no nothing, right? He just walks outside, meets a president, introduces the president to his mom who went to high school with him, but nobody can say what he looks like for certain.
At the South, the Special Investigating Unit has executed a court order at a car dealership owned by Mpumalanga businessman Yusuf Omar. It's part of its ongoing investigations into irregularities at Tembisa Hospital.
What are you looking for? We're looking for a Bentley, that's all. Where's the Bentley? We want to go inside. Madam, where's the Bentley?
You're asking us. I'm just a reporter, my brother.
No problem.
Not the right person to...
Why is everyone looking for the Bentley though? Can you just get to the story already? Bro, right now I'm so lost. I can't even commentate. I'm supposed to be the commentator here, but if I'm lost, how am I supposed to comment on this situation? I don't know. Can we get to why are they looking for the Bentley?
Talk to you, I'm just a reporter.
All right.
Yeah, so the authorities here from the Special Investigating Unit are the ones you should be having a conversation.
So I hear you asking me, Brian, what's so scary about the situation?
Yes.
Who is this Morgan Maumela that I keep hearing about on the news? Who is he? What has he done? What's his deal? What's his issue? And most importantly, why is the situation getting scarier every single time it's being covered? You will remember that last year the SIU pretty much did their most famous raid, and I think it was last year, where they took a number of identical blue Lamborghinis from an interesting house. This person's house was none other than business figure, Morgan Maumela, who somehow has ties to Ramaphosa, but that's the story for another time.
And he smiles away. And now I've encountered this person, and I walk away, and I walk to my home. And then in 2024, on the 26th of December, I am walking with my daughter, who loves walking too, on the same street. And there this young man comes out and he says, "Hello, Ramaphosa. My mother is here. Can you say hello to her?" And I say, "Who is she?" He says, "It's Mboneni Maumela." Now, when I was at school in Papuli High School with my then wife, Hope Mudau, her brother was also there. And later I got to know that this Mboneni and this, my wife's brother, my former wife's brother, they hooked up. And as they hooked up, they had a child. And this is now Hangwani Maumela, whom I did not know. But I know his mother because we were at school together. So he says, my mother is here. Can you say hello to her? And she's coming out of the yard towards the main gate. And she's wearing a gown, a morning gown. And I immediately say, I can't allow her to come into the street with a morning gown. And I go towards the gate and I greet her and I say, how are you? How have you been? That's the sum total of it all. And I walk away.
And so recently, Maumela's name has been brought up on the internet, up all over social media, because the beloved SIU.
I'm still lost, but I'm trying to get the context. So this guy knows Ramaphosa and has so much money to live in the neighborhood of Ramaphosa. And nobody knows where he gets the money. Nobody knows what he looks like. Nobody knows anything about this guy who's living in the neighborhood of Ramaphosa. What do you mean? What do you mean? Now we got secret billionaires that are not even on social media. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy, but that's very peaceful. People, you don't have to worry about while whoever is posting a fake jet while you can just get yourself 3 jets just by chilling. You wake up and see the president. You talk to the president. You be like, how are you, neighbor? He be like, fellow citizen.
Our saviors in South Africa have recently conducted a raid and seized some of Morgan Maumela's assets. But even though this is happening regarding Morgan Maumela's name, some people are sounding the alarm, saying, Guti, why is the media withholding information when it comes to this guy and his connections? The media doesn't want to divulge the full story behind Morgan Maumela. But why is that? One comment would say, the media is still not giving us the full tea. We know that Uhangwani Morgan Maumela was a business partner of Vusi Matlala on the SAPS tender, and he was paid by Suleiman Karim when the SAPS paid Umatlala. And we also know that he is friends of Ubetjan Chauka, and his mother went to school with his former uncle through marriage. Jamie would chime in on this comment saying, the media is afraid to fully divulge the business and political connection between these men. The key word is fully. They don't want to expose the full story because even now we don't know where Uhangwani Maumela is. We don't know if Karim is really sick. Most of the quality information came from advocate Chaskelson SC. Some may write with this story and people are asking the right questions, but why aren't the right answers not being provided? But I think I know a little bit of why the media isn't going too deep into the story, and we're going to be heading into some interesting territory. You will remember that Morgan Maumela is tied to one of the most brazen cases of corruption involving the public health corruption scandal centered around Tembisa Hospital in Gauteng. The case involved the alleged looting of roughly 2.3 billion with a B rands from this hospital, with Maumela's syndicate linked to around 820.
Wait, what happened to the 2.5 billion? Yo, because I'm Tembisa Nemali most. Tembisa Bashalimi Kukwiniji, get Bashalimi, I'm a billion.
That Morgan Maumela is tied to one of the most brazen cases of corruption involving the public health corruption scandal centered around Tembisa Hospital in Gauteng. The case involved the alleged looting of roughly 2.3 billion with a B rands.
I'm like, do you think in South Africa they have these drawing boards and this is how they solve cases? I don't think this is how they solve the cases, boy. I ain't gonna lie. I think they have drawing boards and then they put things like this and then they also don't understand why they have these things up there. They just saw in their movies they do this, so we also have to do this. But the corruption in Tembisa dog was 2.5 billion. Damn. We sing any track explorer to neighborhoods. like close to mine so that I can like pick up some breaks. Dog, I ain't gonna lie. Me, I see like an FG getting bombed. I run away for like 3 centimeters. Everyone gets shot, gets done for, and then when they're picking their money and they leave some of the money. Lord Jesus, I am not part of the crime. The crime decided to show itself to me. Okay, it decided to show itself to me, and I can't do anything. Well, what would you do? Because I can't say what I will do. So what would you do? They bomb. What will you do if like they bomb an FG and you are nearby, and they are done like shooting at each other? Everyone is done. Now the thugs pick up their money and leave, and there's some money left today. There's clearly some money left there. And it is outside of the banks. What are you doing in this situation? You answer me. I don't have an answer. You answer for me, please.
From this hospital, with Maumela's syndicate linked to around 820 million rand through a web of fraudulent procurement contracts for medical supplies and services. We all know that this never happened, and a majority of this money was looted. Where did the money go? Well, we have our big five, but these big five are currently in custody. Some are currently in the Madlanga Commission. Umogan Maumela, for some reason, has been the most untouched in this entire story. Why exactly is this happening? Yebo ke siyawabona ama-radio, siyawabona, we see all the publicity behind the story, but people are saying, good time, man. No, man, something is being covered here. Why is he being protected? They're literally doing everything but putting this guy behind bars if they suspect that Ngempela he was linked to dubious practices. Where is he? Why is he not behind bars? And most importantly, why is it that his assets are being seized at the moment? But in order for us to understand that, we have to understand the first asset seizure that happened around 2025. Guys, I don't know if you know, but there's a full video of everything that was found in this guy's house. And let me just say, Uti, hold on to your pocketbooks, because what you're about to see is absolutely insane.
Sebefuna ukungithindisa masifika bopa 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 ingane bopa nakusekufika amabhoza nakusekufika amabhoza oh bopa 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 ingane bopa sibekezelile saposta manje lempilo izokhosta hey asike chapa amaboda oh bopa 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 asesifikile bopa bopa ingane bopa hey.
This is the type of house where we like dream of. Like, this is like our dream houses. And now billionaires are having our dream houses, but due to corruption. That's crazy, dog. So you mean to tell me we will never have our dream houses if we take the legal way? The proof is here. Do you think if he took like the legal route, he would own like a house like this? No, I don't think so. Even Caspanio West like his house does not. It doesn't come near to this one, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Bro, sometimes I be like recording videos and then I freeze from like random moments, so I need to check that. Sheesh. Bro has a full gym inside of his home, though. That's crazy. Lamborghini.
Sebefuna ukungithindisa masifika bopa bopa
So what exactly has been happening around 2026? Well, it's drama around his Bentley. The SIU pursued a Bentley that was linked to Maumela at a Mpumalanga dealership called Omar's Motor Den. The dealer, Yusuf Omar, was briefly arrested for allegedly obstructing the operations and failing to disclose the vehicle's location despite prior preservation orders. This highlights alleged concealment tactics by this guy. I want us to, for a second, put on our seatbelts, because we have to understand, Uti, for this guy, to want to be arrested. He's saying, Guti, you would rather arrest me than I divulge information about Maumela, I divulge information about any of these ties. I would rather you put me behind bars. We have to understand the gravity.
Bro, do you understand how dangerous Maumela has to be if someone will be like, nah, I'll rather like spend 5 years of my lifetime in prison. I swear. Put me in jail right now than for me to tell you what Maumela looks like. Jail me, sir. Sir, jail me right now. Please. Put me in jail, please. Like, bro is like begging to be jailed. They're not saying like, we're gonna arrest you. He's like, please arrest me. So you're failing to tell us like what Maumela looks like. Arrest me right now. I'm not saying anything from here going forward. Just arrest me. That's crazy, bro. Do you know how dangerous you have to be for people to even like be scared to like say, yeah, no, in jail, man. That's crazy, though.
Of the situation we're working with. This is not a pup team entering Omar's dealership. These are law enforcement saying you will divulge information whether or not you like it, and Omar's saying that's not going to happen over my dead body. You have to understand the people we're dealing with, guys.
That it would seem by the South African Police Service. Tabu would be going to be very careful because we're not allowed to show the faces of the curators and members of the SIU for their protection, investigators of the SIU. But that gentleman who was addressing us now being taken from the doors of the dealership to so that the SIU.
Bro, me, I'm not gonna lie. Me, I might let like my bad thoughts win. Like me, if there's like 5 cops arresting me and they're like handling me rough, me, I might end up throwing a feast. I ain't gonna lie. I know I'm already going to jail, so and it is already cameras. So why not clip from my moment to jail? Like jail, and then niggas who like to fight would be like, but he stood his ground though. He stood his ground though. Yeah. Yeah. And then niggas outside would be like, he stood his ground though. He stood his ground. That's what I'm gonna do whenever I'm getting arrested. I'm gonna be like Unati boy. I'm gonna be like
members together with the South African Police Service can go ahead to look for that said vehicle. But like I mentioned, the SIU mentions that since the preservation order was given, this vehicle, which has been spoken about, the Bentley, has exchanged hands at least 3 times, sold for over 3 million. But they believe that vehicle is here, and once they're given permission to go inside, and I believe the paperwork that one of the curators has is the actual court order, which was granted by the special tribunal, which the SIU approached this morning, granting that order. You mentioned, Thabo, that this relates to the Tembisa scandal. You'd recall that last year, around October, that's when those luxury vehicles from were taken from Maumela's house in Sandton quite dramatic scenes here. And
what kind of character is this, where Omar would be willing to be thrown into the deepest pit of the jail than for him to disclose information about Morgan Maumela? What ties does he have? What links does he have? How much was he paid? Was he threatened? Was he told to be silent? What exactly is the deal regarding Omar and Morgan Maumela? That's pretty much what everybody's been asking recently, because the story is getting deep. One comment said, when Hangwani Maumela's cars were taken by the SIU last year, this very Omar went to a tribunal and claimed Maumela's cars. The tribunal instructed SIU to return Maumela's cars because Omar Motorden claimed them as theirs. Omar helped Maumela hide a Bentley. The SIU tracked it back to Yusuf Omar. A key thing that stood out to me when watching Yusuf address the media, when watching Yusuf address the SIU, when watching Yusuf address pretty much South Africa to his whole, is the entitlement that came through in his voice. Who do you think you are, coming to my dealership, demanding things, asking questions? Who are you? And it goes to show the biggest issue we have as black people in South Africa is this growing entitlement that a lot of quote-unquote foreign nationals have in our own countries. You can only imagine if you're South African in their countries having this level of entitlement, having this chest towards the locals of that country. Aikhulumwa indaba entitlement in these countries. If you don't give them what they want, they throw you in the deepest, darkest cell. But because we're so meek as South Africans, because we're willing to lend an ear, we allow many people like Yusuf Omar to talk as they want to us. Because at the end of the day, because of all the money they've made in our country, they see themselves as better than us. That's just something interesting that stuck out to me in watching Umar address the media, the lack of respect he has for South African officials and the clear entitlement that he wasn't afraid to showcase. One comment would say Morgan Maumela must be the biggest thing in South Africa for an owner of a luxury car dealership, Omar, to sacrifice himself to be arrested on a Friday just because he is refusing to give the SIU the Bentley, even when he sees an order from the court. Who is Hangwani Maumela? Question of the day. Question that's on everybody's mind. Who is Hangwani Maumela? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to cover all the latest developments regarding these cases. We're here to show you the dark side that the media won't show you. We're here to show you not only what people are saying, but what's happening in South Africa. The story is only getting started. It's going to be interesting to see where things go from here. Question of the day.
So the guy who is like wearing the black things here, and like this guy, they keep on showing it. This is not Hangwani Maumela. Nobody knows the Hangwani Maumela.
Media won't show you where you're here to show you not only what people are saying, but what's happening in South Africa. The story is only getting started. It's going to be interesting to see where things go from here. Question of the day. Who is Hangwani Maumela?
Hangwani Maumela. That nigga is crazy, though. That guy better be dangerous. That guy is definitely dangerous. Hopefully I didn't say anything that might make Hangwani come for me. Hangwani, if you're watching this, please forgive me. If I said anything to touch you the sideways, please, it was not my intention, okay? I am just a broke. Like, I'll hold a Bentley for you, my brother. I'll hold a Bentley. Like, the Bentley that they took from Omar, I'm gonna claim it as mine. I don't mind. I don't mind. As long as I get to keep my life, I can do whatever you want. Okay, please. Moya farts in that. Moya farts in that. Hang on, right, dogs. W video from Branch Jonas World. I definitely subscribe. That's why I know the tea. Okay, so do what I did to Junior, dog. Subscribe to me. That's all I can do. Like, come on, dog. Let's subscribe. Like, on my other channel, I'm on 212 subscribers. Can we get to like 50 subscribers on this channel? Please. Please, man. Please. Let's get it.